Good morning from WKYT News. I'm Bill Bryant. Welcome to Kentucky Newsmakers. It was an interesting primary season in Kentucky, and as the dust settles, we now see there's going to be an aggressive race in Kentucky for the U.S. Senate. Democrats haven't held a Senate seat from Kentucky since Wendell Ford's retirement in 1998. Now Democrats have nominated Lexington Mayor Jim Gray for the job, and he hopes to change that. Gray may be swimming upstream in Kentucky, where Republicans have been on a roll in statewide elections, but he is already setting out to portray Paul as distracted from Kentucky's challenges by his own political ambitions. Senator Paul says he is happy to run on his record in Washington and his service to the state. It's been a while since we've caught up with Mayor Gray on city issues in Lexington as well, including Center Point, changes on Short Street, other parts of downtown, and the move to body cameras for police. And later on in Kentucky Newsmakers, we'll hear from Senator Paul. He will appear on this program for a full interview when we can get that scheduled as well. Today, though, we welcome Democratic Senate nominee Lexington Mayor Jim Gray to Kentucky Newsmakers. And congratulations on your victory on Tuesday.
Well, thanks, Bill. Thanks a lot.
You far outdistanced several other Democrats who were running for the nomination. As you travel the state, what are people telling you they want in a U.S. Senator?
Well, first I want to say that I really appreciate all the support that I got in this campaign, and we covered the whole state, and we won every county in the state in the primary, and that represents a lot of momentum, a lot of enthusiasm, and it's very encouraging. What I hear across the state, Bill, is what I would describe as there's a lot of economic anxiety. People are concerned about the economy, whether you're in eastern Kentucky or western Kentucky. It's especially a major issue in the parts of Kentucky east and west of central Kentucky. And I hear that people want the confidence that we've got an economy that's going to be thriving. And that's something I've got a lot of experience in. I've said that this race, in many respects, is about three things: jobs, jobs, and jobs. When you've got a thriving economy, then a lot of our problems can be solved. And that's what I've done all my life. I've worked to recruit companies. I've worked to recruit jobs to Kentucky. Through our family's construction business, more than 20,000 people a day walk through the plants built by Gray Construction, just here in Kentucky. And that gives me the experience. And I've got a record as Lexington's mayor of creating thousands of jobs. So what I hear from people is we want someone who's going to represent Kentucky, put Kentucky first always. And that's exactly the commitment that I'm making as I travel this state.
Does the voting pattern of Tuesday give you an idea as to how issues can differ from region to region? You carried all 120 counties, but Bernie Sanders won big in eastern Kentucky after Hillary Clinton had made some statements about the future of coal. Several Democrats have slipped on that slope of coal in recent elections. Do you think that Kentucky coal has a future, or do you think that those regions that produce it need to be looking beyond it?
Well, coal is a bridge to the future. You know, we have generations of families, we have generations of regions of our state, of course, that have relied on coal for entire lifetimes. And coal miners are some of the most productive people in America. I hear this across our state. And we need to work to diversify our economy. This is something that we arguably should have been working on a long time ago. But I support a modern economy. I support infrastructure for a modern economy. This is one of the reasons that we need to really work towards supporting the SOAR initiative that was developed by former Governor Beshear and by Congressman Hal Rogers, placing high-speed internet. You know, I've built a plant recently. Our company built a plant recently in western Kentucky where high-speed internet was one of the criteria reasons that the company located 200 jobs and influencing thousands of others. So what we know is that a diversified economy can help solve lots of problems, and we need to focus intentionally and very deliberately on this. And this is a skill set that I bring to the table because I've done it all my life. It's something that comes natural to me. You know, sometimes I say the last thing a fish can describe is water. So I had to look closely and say, you know, these are real unusual and unique skill sets that I bring to the table, having recruited plants to Kentucky, jobs to Kentucky. I used to say, before I was mayor, I'd go to these groundbreakings and these ribbon cutting ceremonies, Bill, and I'd hear politicians say, it's so great to get these 100 jobs or 200 jobs with this new manufacturing plant that's opening. And they'd go one ear and out the other for me because I was hearing it all the time. I was doing it. Well, once I became mayor of Lexington, I realized just how important a job is. And why is that? Well, a job gives purpose and meaning in life, and yes, a paycheck as well. But it gives purpose and meaning, and that's a big deal.
You were reluctant to support a local minimum wage hike in Lexington, but you have said that the federal rate should go up. The presidential candidates differ on that issue as well, with Bernie Sanders calling for the $15 an hour hike. Hillary Clinton is for a more gradual increase to around $12. What do you propose, or what could you support?
Well, actually, I always said I was for increasing the minimum wage. The question was, how quickly and to what extent? Now, what Lexington did was take a leadership step, and I support increasing the minimum wage. Now, I'd be willing to examine the level to which we should take it, but I support a rising minimum rate.
But I recall you saying that you wanted the federal government to take the lead.
Oh, I
on
did
this.
think
Yeah.
the federal government should take the lead, absolutely, because the way it is today, it puts cities on different playing fields. And that's disadvantage. That's competitive disadvantage to cities. So I think that, yes, the appropriate place for this issue to be taken up is at the federal level. And I would be willing to take it up. I would support taking it up.
You have said in your ads while running for the Senate nomination in the Democratic primary that it does not matter to you whether an idea originates from a Democrat or a Republican. If it is workable, you said that you could get on board. Given, though, the highly charged partisan atmosphere in Washington, do you think it would work if somebody goes up to Capitol Hill and talks about compromising as a way of governing? That's the way it used to be, but these days there's a lot of digging in.
Well, I believe each man can make a difference. Each man and woman can make a difference, and everyone should try. Now, I don't buy into the idea that you can't work across an aisle. Right here in Lexington, I've worked with Democrats and Republicans. We worked to balance a budget. We worked to take ourselves out of a deficit. We worked to fix a fire and police pension, health insurance. We worked to solve lots of problems, and we had to work across the aisle with Democrats and Republicans. Now, that's the kind of spirit and that's the kind of attitude that the founders of our country intended. And this is exactly the way we ought to behave. And so I just don't have much patience with this notion that we can't work together. I believe we can work together. I think it's essential for the country that we work together. Now, I'm going to do all I can as a senator to advocate for that spirit of cooperation.
Senator Paul makes it clear that he has some principles that he stands for, conservative positions that he takes that he believes are in line with Kentucky, reducing the debt, gun owners' rights, opposition to abortion. All might seem to be in line with Kentucky voters. Will you stake out different positions on those, or do you slightly differ?
Well, I would say, well, first off, I support the Second Amendment. I support all the amendments to the Constitution itself. In terms of the debt, what I believe is, and I learned this from business, from being, at one time, our family business went through insolvency. We were broke. We had to come out of that. Now, I learned then you cannot shrink yourself to greatness. You know, if the top line doesn't change, nothing else does. You have to grow the economy. It's essential to grow the economy. Now, I know something about that. And I would argue that Senator Paul has very little experience in actually building a business and growing jobs and creating jobs. I know that from my DNA. And we've got to grow this country. This is why investing in infrastructure is so critical and so important. Every time we have had adversity in our country, whether it was the Great Depression, whether it was World War II, and after World War II, we built ourselves out of adversity. Our country, that is our history. We can't forget that because it gives us competitive advantage across the world when we are actually at work. That's why it's so important, and that's why this time is so important for America.
Do you agree with him that this huge debt that faces America, though, really holds back our ability to get the economy rolling?
Well, the way that you, yes, I've always believed, if you look at my record in the city, I believed that there's two things you have to work on all the time. That's reducing your cost basis, and that's increasing your revenues. That's the way you grow. That's the way people's incomes grow. But this is the real problem that we've got is a rising middle class today. Between 1992 and 2000, household median income went from $47,000 a year to $56,000. Between 2000 and 2012, times when Senator Paul has been in Washington, that household median income dropped to $51,000 a year. And this is why we must grow our economy.
Do you plan to really go after him for making a presidential run, which he says, you know, if he had been president, he certainly would be in a position to help Kentucky. And you made the commitment this week, you said you would never run for president. So is it inappropriate for a Kentuckian who holds public office to try to make that step?
Well, what Senator Paul has done is spend his entire career, arguably 5 out of 6 years of his tenure as senator, running for president. Now, what is one accomplishment that he's actually made as senator? What bill has he passed? What has he been able to reach across the aisle and gain support for in order to pass legislation? Now, I look at my record as mayor, having fixed a pension plan that was described as the most effective pension reform in the country, having fixed a health insurance system, having taken a budget deficit and turned it into surpluses, you know, having done projects across the city, including managing a consent decree project, one of the best managed projects in the country. Okay, this represents a record of achievement. And so when we look at Senator Paul, his focus has been on running for president, not on putting Kentucky first.
We're with Lexington Mayor Jim Gray, now the Democratic nominee for the United States Senate from Kentucky. Back with more. We'll talk about some Lexington issues, and then later we'll hear from Senator Rand Paul, who's seeking re-election, on WKYT's Kentucky Newsmakers. We welcome you back to WKYT's Kentucky Newsmakers on WKYT, and we're visiting with Lexington Mayor Jim Gray, who is now the nominee of the Democratic Party to be the United States Senator from Kentucky. You're the first openly gay nominee of a major party in Kentucky for statewide office. Lexington voters have elected you vice mayor, mayor, and re-elected you as mayor. Do you anticipate that potentially being a factor in the campaign for statewide?
You know, Bill, what I see that voters across our state care about, what they care about is performance, and they care about results. They care about a record, they care about experience. And this is what is always rewarding about campaigns. It's always rewarding about public service, is you actually get in there and you do the job, and that's what people care about. They come up to me routinely and they say, Jim, listen, thanks for fixing the problems we've got in the city. We think the city's going well. You know, I'd like to take the successes of Lexington throughout Kentucky. There are a lot of lessons that both we can translate into Kentucky, and there are a lot of lessons that Washington can learn from Lexington and from Kentucky.
How tough is it going to be the next few months to have sort of two full-time jobs? You're running the city and you're running for the U.S. Senate, which has to demand a lot of your time.
Well, I love challenges and I love overcoming obstacles, and that's exactly what I faced when I became mayor, was a bunch of obstacles. And you know, you put your nose to the grindstone and you work on the problems. I love problem solving, and so dealing with the work in a couple of dimensions is always a challenge, and it's exciting for me, frankly.
The city budget is about to be finalized. There is a surplus this time around, and you have put out your proposal for how to spend it, and
yes,
it looks like it's about ready to go, huh?
Well, the council is now reviewing it. The council links are reviewing the budget, and we've got a lot of commitments in the budget that support basic services. More paving, for example, in this budget. We've really ramped up our police enforcement areas. We've added 20 police officers in this budget. Body cameras will be included in this budget for police. This takes our police, our sworn officers, to the highest number, to 600, the highest number it's ever been in the city's history. And you know, our police and our fire do a remarkable job. And that's what I've learned in terms of a competitive city. A competitive city one where people want to live, is one where they feel safe. And this is one of the reasons that commitment in our budget to a strong and vigorous public safety is my first priority.
I want to bring up an issue on that. It's very timely. There was a fire this week that started in one home and spread to others there along Edith Hayes Boulevard on the east side of town, where so many houses are built close together. Obviously an effort to try to preserve farmland in the community and so forth, but in some cases, 10 feet apart or less. Is the city looking into those circumstances?
Yes, Bill, that fire occurred, as you said, off Richmond Road in the Childsburg area, and these homes were built before 2006, 2007, when building codes actually changed to require. Now, the new building code requires a firewall on a house that's within 5 feet of a property line, and you're right. Many of these homes were built in order to preserve what's really special and unique about Lexington. That is our rural landscape, our beautiful landscape that really is unique for Lexington, our signature. So this represented a challenge clearly for our firefighters, but what has occurred since 2006, 2007 was fire codes, building codes that require firewalls, which would arguably then prevent the expansions of the fire from one home to another.
Update on the old courthouse quickly.
Yeah, well, the old courthouse, the old courthouse was built in the 1890s, so it's more than 100, almost 20 years old. And it's a unique specimen of that period of architecture, Romanesque period of architecture. It's arguably one of the finest examples of architecture in the state. And we are committing, the city's committed to the project, and we have formed a unique public-private partnership. And we're now it will bring tenants into that facility, and we are real confident that it will become a really exciting and vibrant core for our city again. It promises, the design's going to be revealed, I believe, this week. And we've been close to revealing the design, to sharing the design with the public, and it's been under work for some time. The architects and the designers have been working through the problems, but it should be revealed soon, and it's really going to be an exciting project, from what I understand. Are
you as confident that things are moving in the right direction at Centerpoint?
Well, some progress is being made. It's been a long struggle. Everyone knows that. Almost a number of years now, and what I'm hopeful for is that progress will continue.
More officers will be getting body cameras, and the contract includes the money for the storage of the video, which was a concern, right?
Yeah, of course. The storage of the computer-generated technology is a challenge. But we've worked through that. That's why we've done the test period. And now we've included in this budget the first set of the first phase of the body cameras,
and
which
quickly,
our police chief is very supportive of, and fortunately the officers are as well.
I know you're preparing for the 4th of July events in Lexington, always a big time here.
4th of July, big deal. On Sunday the 3rd, of course, the Transylvania, the big concert, patriotic concert at Transylvania, and then on Monday will be our big 4th of July parade, which everybody, it's just such a big feature of our summer in the downtown.
Lexington Mayor Jim Gray, now a U.S. Senate candidate and the nominee of the Democratic Party. All right, we'll hear from Senator Rand Paul, the Republican nominee, in just a moment. Welcome back, and U.S. Senator Rand Paul talked with WKYT's Washington Bureau after the race.
Were you able to give your full attention to your job during the campaign?
Running for president and being a U.S. Senator was a lot of work, but I tried very hard to make sure that I never really was absent from Kentucky. I was here from Washington and Kentucky, but I've made 96% of my votes, continue to be a loud voice in Washington. I've introduced over 100 individual bills as well as 300 individual amendments. So no, I think I've done a good job of representing Kentucky, and not only that, I watched my expenditures and was able to give back $2.5 million from my office budget to the Treasury.
Do you anticipate coal being a major issue in the campaign?
You know, it's a big issue and bigger in certain parts of our state, but you know, eastern Kentucky and parts of western Kentucky have traditionally been coal mining communities. And when Hillary Clinton says we're going to put your coal miners out of business, we take it pretty personally. I think she disrespected Kentucky. I think she ought to apologize. And I think it's amazing the arrogance of a politician to come to our state and tell us specifically she's going to put us out of business and cost us jobs. We've lost 10,000 jobs in the coal community so far. We've lost 1,500 jobs just this quarter in the coal community, and now it's spreading to railroad jobs and other jobs. And so, no, I think she really needs to apologize, and she needs to let us know that she's going to stop the war on coal, but instead she's telling us, no, she's going to continue Barack Obama's war on coal.
And it appears Donald Trump will be the Republican nominee. Do you expect that to be a factor in your race or voter turnout in Kentucky?
You know, I think in my race I have a distinct voice, and people have heard my voice both on the national stage and across Kentucky. I don't think it'll change my race that much. I want to continue to be a distinct voice in the Republican Party for fiscal sanity, for balancing budgets, for opposing either Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama's regulatory onslaught that I think is stifling our job creation and our economy, and also a voice for lowering tax rates and leaving more money in Kentucky so our Kentucky jobs and businesses can thrive.
And are you surprised Bernie Sanders did so well in Kentucky, particularly eastern Kentucky?
What's interesting, when you look where the coal-producing counties are, he did better in those because you know, I think they're aware of how Hillary Clinton has said that she's going to put them out of business, and it doesn't go over very well. And so I think Bernie Sanders did better in those areas of the state. But I think it shows you that Hillary Clinton's got a real uphill battle in Kentucky because, like I say, we're just not happy with her disrespecting us and saying she's going to put our people out of business.
Will you endorse Donald Trump for president? Would you vote for him?
You know, when I ran for the presidency, early on they asked us all to sign a pledge saying we wouldn't run as a third-party candidate and that we would support the nominee. And so I'll stand by my pledge. I've always supported the Republican nominee and will, because I think, you know, even when I ran for the Senate in 2010, we had a very contested Republican primary. They said, will you do it? And I think I signed a statement then saying I would support the other person if they won and vice versa. So I think the way a party is strong enough to combat the other party is, despite your differences, you got to come together.
Do you think there will be a move by Republicans to support a third-party candidate?
To support
a third-party candidate?
You know, I don't really think so. There's all this discussion of it, and I think some of it is promoted by the media, but I don't really think that there is going to be a movement. A lot of people don't realize how hard it is to get on the ballot. There will be at least one third party. The Libertarians typically get on the ballot, but as far as an independent getting on the ballot, it's not easy. Getting the signatures necessary to get on and all the deadlines, not to mention the fact that in 12 states, I think, there's something called a sore loser law. So if you ran for president and you lost as a Republican, you're not allowed to be on as an independent in about 12 states because they don't want people gaming the system, losing, and then coming back. So I think it's very unlikely there'll be a prominent Republican leave and become an independent.
And what would you tell someone who has a problem supporting both Trump and Clinton if it comes down to those two in November?
You know, my main problems with Hillary Clinton are what she said about Kentucky coal, but also her lack of defense of our consulate in Benghazi. For about 6 months before the ambassador was assassinated, she kept bringing troops home. She brought special forces home for about 6 months, and she left them unprotected. Even when the ambassador was pleading and saying, we'll be overrun if you remove these forces, she went ahead and removed them. I also think by putting her email on a private server, she left national secrets dangling out there for our enemies to see. And in all likelihood, our enemies have read all of her emails. And I think that shows poor judgment. And I think you want a commander-in-chief that has better judgment than Hillary Clinton.
And now that you've won the primary in an overwhelming fashion, how do you run your campaign against Jim Crow?
Well, I think my campaign will be mostly talking about my record, talking about how I've advocated for balanced budgets, how I've opposed President Obama's regulatory tsunami and overreaching, but also how I've been talking about how we can allow Kentucky to grow more by leaving more money in Kentucky, by lowering tax rates and having a more vibrant economy in Kentucky. I've also talked about something special that I think would really help Kentucky, and that's called economic freedom zones. This is where we would lower the taxes dramatically in areas of poverty like eastern Kentucky or in West Louisville. And I think ultimately the voters will look at that and say, look, we want somebody to stand up for Kentucky, not somebody who's going to go along with Hillary Clinton and her war on coal and all the regulations and all the job-killing regulations.
And you're likely to hear you don't care about Kentuckians from the opposition because you spent some time running for president. How do you respond to that?
Well, you know, I've made 96% of my votes. I have been probably one of the most active senators up here. I've been on the floor sometimes for 12 and 13 hours at a time, filibustering things that were going to take away our rights. I've also introduced 100 bills, 300 amendments. So I think really, if you look at the record, I've probably been one of the most active senators in the Senate.
And what are you working on right now in the Senate, or any top priority you have at this time?
All right. This week I'm going to introduce an amendment that takes $8 billion from foreign aid, money that we're going to give to foreign countries, and says, you know what? We need to fix things here at home. I'm going to take that $8 billion and put it in the road fund so we can fix roads in Kentucky and in our country. And I think that's what people want. I think people think that we need to see Kentucky first. So I think Kentucky ought to be at the front of the line, not the back of the line, and we shouldn't send money to Afghanistan. We've spent $100 billion in Afghanistan paving their roads. I think it's about time we take care of problems here at home.
Senator Rand Paul, and before that we heard from Senate candidate Jim Gray, the Lexington mayor and the Democratic nominee. Thank you for joining us for Kentucky Newsmakers. Have a good week ahead.